Hey everybody, this is Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, talking about episode number 102, The Terrorists Don't Have Lights on Their Bikes. Recorded on Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. Tonight's topics: terrorist attacks on Russians, lights are required, tap to pay, and a few more. Stick around, it's a really good show. Good evening everybody, welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
And I'm Ryan McAllister.
So we got a pretty packed show tonight, believe it or not, at least as far as the number of topics. Who knows how quickly we'll go through them, but got some good ones.
If we can get through all of them.
Yeah, I got a couple of good ones in there.
Well, let's get to them.
Alrighty. So you pick which one we want to go with first.
How about that comfortable night for sleeping one? That one's... I'm not sure what that means exactly.
This is one that it's been bugging me a lot lately. So, everybody's heard, it's just, they've heard that, it's the globe is like the super warm and it's the warmest it's been. And of course they're constantly human-induced climate, human-induced global warming, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then every time there's going to be a cool night, like sometime when it gets down into the mid 50s or so. Oh, it's going to be a very comfortable night for sleeping tonight. And this is meteorologists saying this. And I'm like, hello, just about everybody, at least in the United States, and certainly in the central New York area, are in climate-controlled housing of some shape or form. They're not sleeping with their windows open. So what's the difference if it's 50 degrees out or not? And I'm going to put this one out there. If it's 50 degrees out at night, it actually makes my sleep less comfortable because the air conditioner doesn't run.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah. If the air conditioner's not running, that means that the humidity level in the house is going up, because air conditioning pulls humidity out of the air. So, guess it's not such a comfortable night for sleeping, is it? Morons.
No, not at all.
And I mean, the other thing, even if you're somebody who would actually turn off the air conditioner because they forecast it's going to be a very comfortable night for sleeping, if you're somebody who would turn off your air conditioner and open windows, here's a problem, folks. Air quality. Yes, thanks to the Canadians, we have smoke again. How good's that for sleeping?
Not good at all.
It's just, come on. They really need to think before they start speaking, I mean, some of this stuff is just so dumb.
Yeah, well, people are dumb.
Yeah, and I don't get it. They say things like this just so they continue to talk. It's like, really? I mean, you can't just talk about, I don't know, an accurate forecast?
Central New York's most accurate.
Yeah, most accurate, my ass. Well. So yeah, that was a quick hitter, but what can you do?
Yep.
So next, we're going to talk about something that's bothered me for a while. I just haven't remembered to actually put it in for us to talk about, because when I see it, well, I'm out in the car driving around, or I'm on the bike riding around. I'm not sitting someplace next to a computer or someplace where I've got my phone out so that I can actually make a note.
Yeah.
New gas stations or convenience stores.
Okay.
They're popping up all over the place still. And yet, here we are, we're in a state that has said no internal combustion cars after 2035. And it may even be no internal combustion engines completely. So if you're stopping sales of them by 2035, Why are we building these new gas stations all over the place?
Great question.
You know? I mean, when they were talking about one opening up down in Cortland, they were, oh, and people in Cortland are going to have a new place to go and get their gas. I'm like, okay, so they're going to have a new place to go get their gas for 10 years. And then they've got to go electric. You know, and I'm like, all right. And these new gas stations that are being built do not include charging stations.
No.
They are literally just gasoline stations. And all I can think is, why? You know?
Exactly. Why?
I mean, I get it as far as, you know, the town, village, whatever, that's allowing it to a point. You know, they're just going to collect taxes on it. They don't care what these businesses spend their money on. That's not their problem.
Yeah.
You know, but where it is a problem is, why are they allowing this when they know that, you know...
They just got to switch to electric in 12 years.
Yeah. You know, and don't get me wrong, I understand, you know, gasoline engines aren't going away instantly in 2035, but as we're ramping up towards it, more and more manufacturers are saying, you know what, we're going to stop production of internal combustion engines. We stop it before 2035, and then we don't have to worry about it after. But, you know, there's going to be people that are holding on to these cars, but are they going to be able to sustain a gas station at every freaking corner? No.
No, not at all.
It's going to get to a point where you have a couple of gas stations that service a city the size of Syracuse, you know, which is like 70,000 residents. You're going to have like, you know, maybe 10 gas stations instead of a gas station at every corner. And what's going to happen? Well, now you're going to have all these abandoned buildings because they didn't plan ahead. You know, this brand new one down in Cortland, they didn't plan ahead. 12 years from now, they're going to be, oh crap, what do we do for sales? You know, It's just, it's ridiculous. So now you got these abandoned buildings, which are, you know, sure, maybe some of these companies will continue to pay taxes for a few years, but 20 years from now, you're going to have an empty building that's getting filled up with homeless people because, well, it's an empty building.
Where else are we going to go?
Yeah, you know, and I don't get it. And then, of course, these people that are allowing these to be built are going to say, well, you know, it's not our problem. Yeah, it's the problem. It's the problem of the people in the future. You know, the next generation that are going to have to figure out how to combat these things being turned into homeless shelters.
I mean, that's the problem with people in power. They don't care about they only care about the now. They don't care about 20 years in the future.
Yeah, and generally speaking, that's the problem there is with humanity, you know?
And that's how it's always been.
Yeah. The biggest problem there is with humanity is most of the time we think very short term. We don't think long term.
Exactly.
Know? But the fact that our elected officials think even shorter term than most of us is even worse.
Yeah, because they're going to be dead in like 5 years.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you know,
most of them. Most of them, at least.
But, you know, something like this is, oh, look at these jobs we created. We created another 20 jobs. Okay, so you created another...
Okay, great.
You created 18 part-time minimum wage jobs and 2 management jobs, which are full-time. Overworked employees. Wow! Oh, great! Wonderful!
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just, I really don't get it, you know?
I don't get it either.
These politics just, something's got to stop. Something's got to change. But.
Yeah. And that brings us back to that revolution you keep talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does, you know? Something will have to change at some point. But, you know, who knows? Who knows how it's going to happen? I mean, like I've said, I seriously hope that somehow it happens peacefully, but I'm not so sure it's going to.
Knowing how polarized this country is now, I think it's not going to be peaceful.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're right. I have a feeling that it's gonna be something that, just blows up because some politician, such as Trump, lies and, thousands of people believe it. I mean,
I think it's going to lead to another presidential assassination.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to tell.
And I don't think it's going to be Biden.
Yeah, I don't know.
If he dies, it's gonna be like on his own.
Yeah, it's possible. It's hard to tell. I mean, we're sitting here, we see what's on the news, and of course the problem there is the news is only covering what's dramatic. So showing 1,000 people that are rallying behind some outlandish politician versus showing the 10,000 that are peacefully protesting against that politician. Well, no, they're gonna go with the ones that are getting the causing the drama. They're not going to go with the peaceful portion of it because that's not going to get ratings.
That's the problem with the media, is that I think the media is the biggest party to blame for all this polarization, because they are focusing on division and negativity.
Yeah, and
and I think the media is more to blame than the politicians, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say more. I would say equal.
Politicians sure as hell aren't helping.
I would say it's an equal thing.
It is mostly the media.
I'd say it's equal. Part of it is you get candidates like Trump and DeSantis that they are taking advantage of the fact that they know the media is going to cover dramatics. So
this isn't even
so they dramatize things
to the right.
Oh no, it's not. It's not exclusive to either party. It's
Bernie
just
Sanders is a left-wing example.
Yeah, what you see with Trump is the biggest example, though.
Oh yeah,
that's how he got elected, was by creating controversy with what he said on the election campaign.
That's how he won the primary. He won the general election because Hillary Clinton doesn't know how the hell to campaign.
Well, yeah. But some of that's also because he was using that same philosophy and practice. Get the media attention by being a jerk.
Yeah.
Whether he truly believed in some of what he was saying or not is a different story, and it's not something that I'm going to speculate. But
although it is something that should be questioned. Does he actually believe this crap?
Yeah, and unfortunately, any interview that he does, he's going to say, "Oh yeah, I believe this. I believe it 100%." He's not gonna. He's not gonna go against what he said in public unless he just plain forgets. But the problem was
more like something Biden would do.
Yeah, and the problem was, because he wasn't one of the good old boy politicians, as soon as he got in office, the media went on attack.
Yep.
And I've said before, Tim Allen had the right idea with, we don't know this guy, we don't know what he's going to do, we got to give him a chance. Unfortunately, the media, because they're looking for drama, they didn't give a chance, and they're not going to.
No.
No matter what, if he gets elected again, the media is going to be all over every single flaw.
Which, let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
I'm not going to say it's not going to happen.
Especially if he's up against Biden.
I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, because it's very possible that it can happen. So,
I mean, yeah, something happens to Biden and he's up against Harris, then I think it's a guaranteed win for Trump.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that's why Biden is running again, because the Democratic Party.
He knows that.
It's not so much him.
Harris can't win.
I don't think it's so much him. I think it's the Democratic Party went to him and said, "Hey, listen, we don't have somebody that can beat Trump right now, so we kind of need you to run." And it's really unfortunate, but that's the way that it is,
Yep.
These parties control everything. So.
And it's unfortunate that they do.
Yeah. So speaking of controlling everything.
Oh.
Let's move on to our next topic.
What we got?
So we know the Ukraine war is still going on. Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And recently there's been some attacks against Russian troops in Ukraine, along with a bridge that it's vital for Russia in some way, shape, or form. The bridge to Crimea. I don't remember why, but at any rate, the bridge was destroyed, and like I said, the troops were attacked in Ukrainian territory, not in Russian territory, Ukrainian territory.
Mm-hmm.
And Putin called it terrorism. The guy who's just blindly bombing everything, he's completely leveled entire cities.
Hey, he's finally figuring out that he's a terrorist.
Oh, he's not calling himself a terrorist. He's calling these attacks terrorism. And I'm like, wait a minute. Terrorism is basically defined by going after civilians to terrorize them.
Which is what he does.
So perhaps, the attack on the bridge was a form of terrorism. However, it is also used to supply Russian troops. Therefore, it is a military target in this instance. But to attack Russian troops that are in Ukrainian territory, that's not terrorism. You crossed the border with the intent of wiping out the country. You have gone, your troops are in this country illegally. So that's not terrorism. They're defending their territory. They're defending their country. So
as they should.
Yeah. So, you don't like that. Well, maybe you shouldn't have crossed the border. Oh, that's right. You didn't cross the border. You sent all the poor troops to cross the border.
Yeah.
Because,
and he's still bombing hospitals and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's bombing indiscriminately.
He's the real terrorist here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think that's why China is kind of, I don't know if we're going to help you there, Putin.
Yeah, I think we'll just back off a bit here, buddy.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna hang tight, and we'll see what happens. If NATO goes after you, then maybe we'll think about it. But we're gonna hang tight here because we got this moron up here in North Korea that's threatening everybody. So we're gonna hold off.
Even us, their number one ally.
Yeah. So, I think China's just playing the cards to see what happens.
Xi Jinping is worried about that nut job in North Korea.
Yeah, as he should be. I mean, Kim Jong-un he's a nutcase. I mean, a true nutcase. You don't know what he's going to do. So, but I thought it was hilarious that a terrorist is calling a military strike terrorism. It's just like, really? You got to be kidding me, man. It's just nuts.
It is.
But
hey, it's what war criminals do to justify their actions.
Yeah, pretty much. And
I can't wait. I hope that he lives long enough for them to put him on trial.
Well, it's hard to tell exactly how much is happening in Russia because it is state-run media, but there's been some reports by some Western media that's still in Russia showing that there are a lot of protests. There is a lot of negativity against him. And
Yep.
we'll see what happens. It's quite possible that Russia's going to end up having another major civil unrest.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's hard to tell. Again, because everything is so tightly controlled with the media.
Mm-hmm.
It's as much as we've complained about the media here, at least it's not.
At least
it's
the government
not
isn't telling them what to say.
Yeah. They're well, yeah. It's not the government, at least not directly telling them what to say.
Yeah.
Indirectly, yeah, they might be, but it's supposed to be free speech, free country, and everything. So, in theory,
bunch of networks keep getting politicians to be their contributors. So,
yeah, and some of them aren't that bad. Some of them aren't biased with their statements.
Looking at Fox News with Huckabee.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
At one point, CNN had Elliot Spitzer hosting a show.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he's a big-ass moron. All right, so.
I know it's a name you probably haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, definitely not. So what do you say we move on to the next topic?
What's next?
So next, there was somebody who was riding a bicycle at night, and I think they got hit by a car or something like that. It was in a dark area. It wasn't someplace that had all kinds of street lights or whatever. But, so they got hit, and of course the person in the car got ticketed because the bicyclist was not in the middle of the road. They were where they were supposed to be, on the shoulder. But then the bicyclist got ticketed.
Huh?
Yes, the bicyclist got ticketed.
What for?
Failure to have proper lighting. As far as I know, a bicycle is not required to have lights. It is required to have reflectors. And if it is required to have lights, then perhaps these bicycles should be sold with lights. But no! And they specifically said this bicycle did not have lights. They didn't say this bicycle did not have reflectors. They said this bicycle did not have lights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but if there is a requirement for lights, then a bicycle cannot be sold without lights. That's like saying, well, I'm selling you a car without lights. You can't do that.
No, you can't.
Can't sell a motorcycle without lights. If they're required, then they kind of gotta come with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why every bicycle is sold with reflectors, because reflectors are required.
And lights are not.
And I'm just like, if the guy took off the stupid reflectors, okay, then say failure to leave reflectors on, or reflective devices, something along those lines. Don't say that it's, he didn't have headlights or taillights or anything. They're not required, assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, just annoys me, All right. So I told you we had a full show as far as topics.
Yep.
But I didn't tell you. I also told you that it might not be a full show because, they're kind of quick. Which kind of brings us to our last topic here. So recently, several Walmarts in the area have been the victims of card skimming. They've had card skimmers So basically...
What exactly is card skimming?
I was going to explain it. So, you know how you got to insert your card or you got to swipe your card, something like that, in order to make a payment? Well, what card skimmers do is they insert something that reads your card as well. So if you have to... If you insert your card and then you enter your PIN, you know, you're using your debit card as a debit card instead of a credit card. By doing that, not only are they getting the magnetic information for your card, so they get your card number, but then they get your PIN number. So now they can go and they can do all kinds of crap with your card.
Ah.
Yeah, because there's things out there that will actually create a new card based on that number so that they can go and use it. And what can they do? Well, they can actually get a new one made so that it has all that stuff. And of course, it doesn't necessarily have the chip, which, you know, the chip is supposed to make it so secure.
Yeah, okay.
But they don't have the chip, so they go to an ATM, stick this new card in, and then put in the PIN number that you typed in, and guess what? They can clear your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, then these experts, you know, after this, they're talking to some Secret Service expert, right? He says, well, you know, the safest way to go is to do tap to pay. And I'm like, have you ever been to a Walmart, moron? The only tap to pay Walmart accepts is Walmart's crap. And it's not tap to pay. It's scan this barcode with our app. You know, before you open your mouth, why don't you try it? I mean, seriously. You know, maybe not everybody's shopping in these high-end stores that have spent thousands and thousands of dollars per machine to accept tap to pay. You know, either that or they're like Walmart and say, well, you know what, we don't want to use tap to pay. We want you to use our app so that we don't have to pay these credit card companies. Because, you know, they have to pay, I think they have to pay 1% of the total or something like that to the credit card company as a transaction fee. You know, so to avoid that, places like Walmart say, well, yeah, we're not going to do that. Use our app instead. And that way, you know, we can push our own store credit card on you so that, sure, we're still going to have to pay Visa or MasterCard that 1% fee, but then we're going to hit you up for a big whopping fee of 27%. So, you know, that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to make money off of it. And all it does
is... what do you expect? It's Walmart.
Yeah, and truly all it does is it punishes the consumer. You know, I use tap to pay every place I can because I know it is safer. You know, because they can't do a skim of that. You use tap to pay, what it does, it creates a secure connection between your phone and the device, transmits a fake number that only your tap to pay provider knows to that, and then it goes and checks and comes back and says, yep, okay, it's good. You know, so it's very, very secure. However, not
like
only
the chip.
Yeah. No, it's actually been shown to be a lot more secure.
Ah.
But the big problem is, number one, you get morons like Walmart that say, no, we're not going to allow that, or we're not going to do that. And number two,
we don't do that here.
Number two, you have competing things. You have Google Pay and you have iPay. And you also have Samsung Pay. You know, so people have to decide, okay, I'm going to accept all of them, or I'm only going to accept one. A lot of stores only accept one. And the third thing, which is just as important as the first two, is the fact that half the time these damn devices don't work. And it's not my phone. I go to the Circle K to buy gas, and every single time, I can actually put my phone right to it and hold it still And it'll say, you moved it too fast. How the hell did I move it too fast? Perhaps you didn't read it because you're dumb. And I'm just like, enough. It's unfortunate, but what's going to end up having to happen is, the industry hasn't been able to settle on a standard on how this works. So what's going to have to happen is the government's going to have to step in and say, okay, this is how it's got to work. The industry, the credit card industry, they settled on some standards, which is why you have so many places that take every single credit card. Back in the early 90s, it wasn't like that. You had every place accepting MasterCard and Visa, but not every place accepted Discover. Not every place accepted American Express. Now, you go just about any place.
Home without it.
Yeah. You go just about any place now, and they all accept all of them. And it's because the industry settled on a standard.
Yeah.
But until Tap to Pay settles on a standard, which is never going to happen because of Apple.
Of course.
Until that happens, the consumer gets screwed.
Because Apple wants to be special.
Oh, yeah, because Apple claims that they're all about privacy and protecting your privacy and making things secure for you. Except when it comes to us collecting data about you. And then
You didn't hear anything at
all right, folks. So, got one thing before we actually leave for the evening. Next week, I'm on vacation, and that probably means no episode next week. It depends on whether or not Ryan gets somebody to join him and decides to do a show of his own, and whether or not I have time to edit that while I'm on vacation. So we'll see what happens, but in the meantime,
good night.
We'll see.